Okay, so if you would join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please stand. Thank you. To the flag of the United
States of
To the
America,
flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which
republic for which stands
One nation, under God,
indivisible, with
with
liberty and justice for all.
Well, that's interesting. Thank you very much. Okay, next is the approval of the agenda. Commissioners, have you had a chance to look at it? And is there anybody else that would like to change it, or is everything okay? If so, do I hear a motion to approve?
I would like to change something.
Okay, Larry?
I would like to remove item D, resolution 428, the annual 1% property tax increase, because I don't have the final numbers yet. We are going to have a second public hearing sometime this month, which you will set the date for tonight. And I will have the numbers by then, and we can approve it at that meeting.
Okay. Any objection to that? If so, do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Public comment. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes if you would. Who would like to speak first?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Hi.
can. Thank you.
Awesome. My name is Ruth Kessler, and I have been in contact with your executive director and many members of the community. And I have here a whole bunch of signatures, and we would like for the Port of Allyn to please purchase some property and build us a skateboard park down here in Belfair. I understand that it has been attempted in Beards Cove before, but as we all know, location, location, location. Right down off the Highway 3 would probably be a great location, close to the urgent care for one thing. For another thing, access. And for a third thing, there would be the potential to attract retail business that is also associated with such a endeavor. I have been in contact with Mr. Cummins from One Ball J. He's in complete support of this project. He's had me talk to several people, including Grindline Skate, which does the skate park building out of Seattle. They've also had me be in contact with Andre Taylor of Skate Park Project, formerly known as the Tony Hawk Foundation. And there is all sorts of support just all around for a project like this. It gives our kids the ability to have exercise, build endurance, competition. It allows venues for some of our local restaurants to possibly do mobile catering and whatnot if we have events there, like competitions, for example. It would give an opportunity for us to have a retail space associated with such a thing. We're right on the way to places like Hurricane Ridge. So, I mean, we believe, I mean, lots of us in this town believe that this is a great opportunity and it's right timing for it. Coming out of COVID, it's an outdoor activity to where people aren't necessarily too close in proximity to each other, but they can still cooperate and learn from each other, and it would overall be very beneficial. And I'm hoping that you will all go ahead and put it on your agenda to possibly vote on it.
Sounds cool to me. We like Bonnie and I had been working on that before, trying to get something like that. I think that would be awesome if we can do it.
If you need any help doing fundraising or anything like that, I can go around and help with that as well. I cannot start a 501c3 myself. I don't have enough time. I'm a mom of 5 kids. I've got 4 of them at home. I'm looking at working 2 jobs. So my time is tapped for doing a 501c3, but I'm more than willing to help the Parks Department or whomever for fundraising. I will go in my spare time and talk to some of the local businesses. And like I said, One Ball J is on board. I'd be able to talk with like Shoemaker Chiropractic, and I'm right down here in Belfair right now at the Cigar Land. I mean, there's lots of support, and people my age, we've grown up with skateboarding now, and it's an Olympic sport now. So it's really not quite the counterculture that it used to be. It's more mainstream culture. And from what I understand, they've had great success with the skate park out there in South Kitsap. The kids pretty much maintain it themselves. And that's the other thing too, is that with high school requirements of doing community service to graduate, that would be a great opportunity for our high schoolers and stuff to participate in another civic activity, another philanthropic project, so that they can get that on their credentials and help with graduation.
Well, I'm only one person, but I think that would be fantastic. Commissioners, do you have anything to comment, or do you want to just wait before comment?
I'll just make a quick comment. Yeah, it's a cool idea. It's something. I was curious, Ruth, how many signatures you got? It's the first I heard of it, but it's certainly. I grew up doing the same. I used to drop into 14, 15-foot bowls, but I'm paying the price for it today. But anyway,
Well,
yeah.
I mean, here's page 1, 2,
Yeah.
3,
All right.
4, 5,
Right on.
and a part of.
Right
And
on.
these are people
Perfect.
from all over the community. They're real estate, they're medical personnel. I mean, just the whole 9 yards, skateboarders themselves. People that are probably in their 80s, all the way down to people that are just legal to buy tobacco.
Sure.
I mean, it's a broad spectrum. I was actually really impressed with the number of people that signed on for this and are in support. People from Tahuya, people from Belfair local,
Mm-hmm.
people from out towards you folks in Allyn, Grapeview, just
We'll
all
have to
over.
look. We'll have to look into that. Yeah.
Well, we need it.
Yeah.
We do.
That- Go ahead. Bruce,
Yeah,
go
I was
ahead.
involved in the one in South Kitsap, and, it was a pretty big community effort. So, if we get people involved in it, you can get it done.
I do believe we've got the community to do it now. We're growing, and we've got, I mean, a lot of these signatures are parents that want something for their kids to be able to do, and they realize that places like the Boys and Girls Club, they've got their limitations. There's, space limitation, there's program limitations. And then when you're thinking about things like the Y, which is a great program, but our kids have to go all the way out to Shelton or all the way out to Silverdale in order to do something like that. And it's just not practical for our community and the people that we have here. It's a
Yeah.
long trip.
Excellent.
And we're growing like crazy. So yeah.
Ted, did you have anything you wanted to comment?
No, I agree with Ruth, and I mean, it's a great idea. Since we've moved up here, I always thought we had very little to offer for our children in way of activities. So, it'll blend. Maybe we can talk about this going in our comprehensive plan. The only concern I have is where do we put it and where can we buy land? And so, but that could be worked out.
Mhm.
There's a couple of commercial properties that have been sitting vacant now down here on Highway 3, one by the Timberland Library. And from what I understand, a lot of kids are kind of getting yelled at for skateboarding at the library anyhow. And then down where the Belfair Cafe used to be, I believe, is also vacant. And
I know the woman that owns that property.
I own that actually, Ruth, and that probably isn't a spot, but I may have something. Well, but we'll see.
Okay.
awesome. Well, that's what I had for you all folks to consider. It's much
Thank you.
appreciated. And thank you.
Ruth. Thank you.
Take
Yeah.
care.
It's Wi-Fi.
Bonnie, you're muted.
Okay. Yeah, just before I forget, which I do a lot. Yeah, Judy and I were talking eons ago about that. We worked with the the county parks department, and it came right down to who was going to be the leader in it that kind of threw things off. But they may be able to help you with land and also with the state grants program. They have money for stuff like that too. And this is a small area. They haven't had much out here like this, so that would be my comment.
You know, the county wanted to give us Bill Hunter Park at one time. I wonder if that wouldn't be a good location.
Well, back on the school grounds, back by what used to be a Grange building there on what is now
Yeah.
302 by the school, that's where we were talking about before.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's still an option or not. Might check
Okay.
out.
Well, we'll look into it.
Go ahead.
Great. Bonnie, did you have anything else you wanted to share?
No, not about that, but I'm good.
Enjoy the Caribbean.
Where's your margarita?
I'm going to Florida next week, so this is my phony attempt at trying to start early, I guess.
All right. Thank you, Bonnie.
You betcha.
Jeff, did you want to share anything right now or you want to wait? Okay. All right. Anybody else? I see Kirk, our resident journalist for Shelton Journal is there. Anything, Kirk?
Nothing for me, just silently observing as always.
All right, thank you. Okay, on to the consent agenda items. We have the approval of regular meeting minutes of October 7th and the special meeting minutes of October 21st, special meeting minutes of October 27th. Do I hear a motion to approve? Oh, there is a correction, I think.
Yeah, I was getting ready to make a motion, but yeah, there is a correction. Isn't it one of the 420? What's the correction, Judy? Sorry.
The minutes for the October 27th, you have the resolution 426, and it should be a resolution 427
Okay.
in the minutes.
All right. So
I would make that correction.
I'll make a motion to approve based on that correction being done. Can I do that?
Yes,
Okay. I'll make that motion now to approve.
And I'll second.
all right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Action items, who would like to read that?
I'll go ahead and read it. Hopefully
Okay.
you don't get some of this background noise. Action items, payment of general vouchers, 21-11-03-001 to 21-11-03-029 for $49,373.98. Action item B, payment of payroll vouchers number 21-10-1001 to 21-10-1009 for $19,347.51. Payment of the water fund voucher number 21-11-02-001 for $499.73.
Okay, motion to approve.
I will make a motion to approve those three vouchers.
And I'll second.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, so moved. Okay, commissioner reports.
Well, I'll just start
Like-
out with my simple commissioner's report, if I may.
Sure, you bet.
Yeah, so the 21st and the 22nd of October, as you all know, my first time going to a training like that, I really saw the value in that, and as a first time going to that and learning and listening to other venues, if you will, or other people's experiences and how what they've learned through over time. And so I just really appreciated that opportunity. It's a special time, and so that's all I wanted to bring to the table regarding my report. Was I enjoyed it and I got a lot out of it.
Excellent. Thank you. Ted?
And I'll second what Commissioner Sheridan said about the training this year. It was very informative. The other interesting thing besides the meeting and the special meeting is that Larry and I attended a PRTPO meeting regarding electric vehicle chargers. And there was two industry representatives from two different electric vehicle charging companies that provided some pretty good insight and kind of the direction where electric vehicles and the charging stations are going. So I appreciate Larry being there. I learned something new, and I think it's something that the port needs to explore further and in getting that. And Larry's has a little bit more knowledge than I do, but there's another company that we could be looking at also. So, but it was very good.
Yeah, cool.
Good. Yeah, I attended, of course, the regular port meeting, the Oyster House meeting. Bonnie, I wanted to share just Bonnie's been working with Spruce Properties about getting the siding done. And I contacted Jerome Tellier about doing the windows, and he did meet with Don, matter of fact, Don O'Keefe, our maintenance guy. And so it looks like, I just heard this today, by the way, Bonnie, that Jerome is willing to do it. So I gave him your, oh, I forgot to give him your phone number. I'll give him your phone number so he can get with you about payment and everything. And
Point.
he's got a shop that he can use, and he'll take it individually and work on them. So that's really encouraging. And
Well-
just go ahead. What were you going to say?
Follow up on that, I've been working with Sean from, I can't remember the name of the
Yeah, Spruce Property.
Spruce, yeah, and he is gonna come out tomorrow morning and start looking the things over, because he said to just do the whole project would be like 3 or 4 weeks out. So he prefers to come in on his days when he has a chance, start doing stuff to dry it out, get the building going. And then
Good.
he lives section at a time if he has to, so. And I did send him the $2,300 deposit, so it's locked in.
Well, I'll get you Jerome's phone number, and then if we can have him work with Sean, if there's anything that Jerome can do to do the sills and stuff like that, we'll see. Anyway, I'll
Yeah,
pass it
give me
on.
the number and I'll put them together.
Yep, sounds good.
Thank you.
And anyway, that was on the 12th, and the 13th and the 14th. I was at EDC meetings. One was a nominations committee. The other one was a regular board meeting. And of course, the WPPA, Washington Public Ports Association Conference. And I think that was their first one in 2 years, matter of fact. So that was pretty cool. It was awesome. Again, EDC nominations committee on the 26th, and then the special meeting on the 27th. And I do want to encourage, the Washington Public Ports has another annual meeting, the 30th of November and through December. And it's commissioners meeting, I think on the 30th. I'd like to encourage everybody to go. I think it's really important. So that's it for me. Security officers report.
I shall read that. October 16th, 9:05 p.m. Abandoned gold Volvo with no permanent plates, an expired temporary tag from 4/31/21. It doesn't look official, almost like a printed fake, and it's got a number with it. Pictures taken and VIN number recorded. October 19th, gold Volvo towed away and impounded by North Shore Towing. October 24th, approximately 9:30 p.m., Allyn waterfront, unregistered vessel with no working engine, according to apparent owner, was towed and left at the moorage dock. Owner paid what cash he had, $40, not enough to cover one night's moorage with shore power. Weather near gale force, I informed him he would need to settle up in the morning with fees and provide proof of ownership due to no official markings, and was unable to provide proof of ownership at that time. October 25th, approximately 5 p.m., once again told the unregistered vessel he could not moor without proof of ownership and/or current registration. Weather was extreme and too dangerous to leave, reminded him payment was owed and trespass was on the table, if proof of ownership, current registration, as well as payment in full. Boat had been moved to a safer side of the dock and was tied away from touching the dock. Quite a bit of damage was already done to the dock. Video and still pictures taken. 10/26, met with Deputy Ellis and Mason County Sheriff's Office about the unregistered vessel. No infractions or warrants were mentioned when Ellis radioed in ghosted vessel numbers and the occupant's name, Greg Richard Hopkins. Photos taken, 2 picture IDs and 2 bank cards for charging of funds on the 1st of October. when he mentioned funds would be available. He was informed that without, and I think that should say 1st of November, informed without proof of ownership and payment, he would have to leave the facility when the weather calmed down. Vessel left approximately an hour after the encounter with Deputy Ellis and myself. And that was his report.
Okay, excellent. Okay, Larry, now your report.
Okay,
Executive Director's report.
all right, financial issues. Expenses have seemingly leveled out, but money is tight, although our revenue streams are performing as expected. We have the 2022 draft budget ready for tonight's public hearing. I'd like to do a second meeting later this month for another public hearing and approval of the 2022 budget, as we have to have it approved and submitted to the county by November 30th. Setting a date for that meeting is on your agenda for tonight. Our $100,000 line of credit with Kitsap Bank is in the renewal process. While we didn't need to use it at any time during the 2-year term of the line, we may need to in the coming months. As you are well aware, we're dealing with litigation, so we're incurring substantial additional unbudgeted legal fees, as you can see from the voucher reports on both the general and water funds, which has negatively impacted our cash flow. We've not yet received a staging area expense reimbursements from RCO. RCO does random audits of their grants, and we've been lucky enough to be chosen for one, which is what's holding up our $52,000+ reimbursement. They'd only question one item, which we've responded to, but they're slow to respond back because we've been dealing with this one item for over a month now. Then this past week, they had a second question about the cultural resources survey. I responded to their inquiry and am waiting response on that as well. Also, rather than close out the grant, I've asked for an expansion of the scope of work to include the fencing and gates we've installed since they're part of the staging area fencing. We're over $150,000 under budget for this project, so I'm hopeful the $7,500 request will be approved. We're still waiting for an expense. We do have expenses related to the new well, but these are coming out of the water fund, not our general fund. Year-end financial issues, approval of resolution 428, the annual 1% increase in property tax we're entitled to is on the agenda for consideration, but we've since taken it off. It will be on the agenda of the meeting you set tonight once I have the final numbers. There are two other items the staff would like you to consider. One is eliminating the acceptance of cash as a payment method beginning in January of 2022. We would, of course, still accept checks, credit, and debit cards. The reason for this is we don't handle a lot of cash, and it does create a potential liability. Plus, the actual labor cost to process cash often exceeds the amount we collect. Also, increasing the price we charge for daily mortgage customers for power from $5 to $7.50 per day. This will pay our actual costs and is an item that's not been increased in years. And when I read the budget narrative, we will talk about increases in electricity that have been substantial. Water system issues. We had a problem with the main water pump and controller for our well failing last month. We had a temporary backup unit installed until the main pump could be replaced. Service was not interrupted as the reservoir was just about full. Since we invested a substantial amount in a new pump, state-of-the-art controls for it, when the new well comes online, we'll dismantle the new equipment, use it for backup units, so we'll have redundancy in case of a primary equipment failure like we just experienced. Both myself and our lobbyists are actively looking for emergency funding to cover the cost of this repair. We continue moving forward on the new well. We're waiting for the engineer's estimate so we know exactly how much money we need. There's federal funding available from the bailout money the state will receive, which will be dispersed by the county. However, the county required everyone seeking some of that federal money to resubmit their previous request via the SEDS process. So we've submitted the SEDS request forms to EDC as required. A very disturbing issue arose when one of the county commissioners made a comment during a public meeting that he didn't see our request being funded because of 2 letters received objecting to us getting this money. I filed a public records request for copies of those letters, received them and passed them on to all of you, as well as to our attorney, who sent a very strong response to the commissioners. As you know, he also outlined our legal options considering the sender's potential legal vulnerability if we are denied this funding in our most recent executive session. There was an issue with an easement we needed to work out. I met with the property owner who agreed to give us what we need. I got some more stuff on that today from the engineers, and we need to get a septic tank as-built drawing for where their septic actually is. As noted previously, we're going to have to install a booster pump near to equalize the pressure with the rest of the system for the existing new homes and others to be built up there. This is just about finished. Nothing new has happened with cooperating with the other water providers on prompting the county commissioners to establish a countywide coordinating water system plan, but I intend to start working on this shortly as it's needed. Damage claim. We had some severe damage to the finger pier on the dock during the October 25 storm. The wave action in the bay was so strong it broke the 4-inch galvanized brackets holding the finger pier to the main dock and tore the 4-inch lag bolts completely out of the beams holding the brackets to the pier. After that happened, it increased the amount of wave action from the first section, which weakened the hinges on the second section of the pier, holding it to the first section, and tore that heavy-duty galvanized hinges holding it to the first section right out of the beams holding the two sections together. The good news is that nothing sank and nothing floated away thanks to the pilings holding the finger pier in place. But it does look like the beams that frame the pier will need to be replaced. Turn this over to Honduras as a claim and called Marine Floats, the same company that built the replacement dock, to get an estimate on the repairs. Meanwhile, we've closed that section of the dock to boaters and pedestrians. More on this as it develops. Also, speaking of Honduras, we received a check last week for $25,000 for the business interruption claim we filed in March of 2020, and they originally denied. However, their premium this year, which you approved in the vouchers, was over $27,000. So I guess it's about a wash. Security camera issues. All the cameras at all our locations are up and running, finally. We had to move one camera at the marina to see the pay machine. This required us to install another pole to mount the camera on, but it also sees the entire parking lot across the street. We now have the software installed on our computers, but need to learn how to use it. Flat screen TV we bought for the office to display the camera feeds from all three places is up and running as well, sort of. There's some software issues that have to be worked out with that, but we should have that done this week. Other security issues. Fencing contractors completed the job, which includes gates, both in the main parking lot and for the Oyster House. Travis will lock them when he comes and does his evening rounds around 9 or so. Don will unlock them in the morning when he gets here, usually between 6 and 7. We also had the PUD shut down the Wi-Fi at 8 as well. North Shore Towing has agreed to impound any cars left at the park after the gates are locked. I'm looking into a lockbox situation so the tow company as well as first responders have access to a gate key. Also, over the weekend, somebody ran into one of the gates. So Don fixed it this morning, but Travis got pictures of the car and the license number. We've identified the owner of the car. So we're going to see what we can do about collecting some money for the damage that was done. Website updates. We refreshed our website with some new pictures, including some drone shots, but we do need to do a major upgrade. Simplifying the navigation so people not technically savvy can find what they want appears to be the biggest challenge. Greg redid some of that actually over the weekend. There's a new section now, it's called Documents, and it has all the documents from each year. You open the year and has a folder for the month that we're looking for. So it's a little bit easier than it was, but he's gonna look at some easier ways to do it. We're also looking into using the security cameras as a webcam, but it's really gonna be pretty sometime early next year before we get to it. Old business, Oyster House, nothing new to report. We're basically in a holding pattern till we get the Army Corps permit. Once we have that, we can put the pile driving construction of the platform for the building out to bid. As reported previously, WPPA has taken the lead on the Army Corps issue and has assembled information from every port in the state about their Army Corps permit status. Port associations in other states are doing the same, so we're hopeful a congressional solution to the stalemate between the Corps and National Marine Fisheries Service will take place at some point. Sweetwater Park, nothing at all new to report. All Ports meeting, I attended the Kitsap All Ports meeting October 25th. The main speaker was someone from DNR who discussed derelict vessels and abandoned boats and funding for ports for those. Criminalization of marine rules, nothing new to report on that. And that's my report. I'm happy to answer any question.
Commissioners, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I had a couple questions, Larry. So the software issues with the camera, the whole Wi-Fi. The existing services that we have, that's on them to come in without any additional cost for us, right? I mean, it's paid.
I still have their check sitting on my desk,
Okay,
and I've told them I'm not releasing it until this thing is working the way it's supposed to.
100%. Cool. Right on. That's
We get what
awesome.
we paid for. I am not
Yeah.
going to release the check.
And they understand that, right? I mean, at this
They do.
okay. And then the pier damage, has that happened before? Because the winter hasn't even started yet, and we've got more storms to come. So,
Well,
is an ongoing problem every few years, or what's that look like?
in January 4th, I think it was, of 2019, half of the dock sunk.
I'm gonna make a suggestion that we look at and entertain the idea of pulling that dock out during the winter months from whatever that looks like. It's just, it's just some food for thought. That's all. I mean,
Well, what we did when they rebuilt the main dock, we have bigger floats on it, and it's secured a lot better than the original dock was. And
right,
it was what we discovered on the original one is apparently there'd been some damage to it before that had been repaired, and a big steel plate was put across two sections of it, and
Right.
that plate had rusted out at one point.
right.
And nobody knew it was there until they started taking the dock apart.
I'd
But-
still like to entertain the idea for further discussion at some point, because it's not gonna stop, and we're gonna have
Well,
storms on steroids.
The problem we have is it's built around the pier, the pilings that are there.
It
We'd have to
doesn't,
get it off of the pilings to float it away somewhere.
Yeah, it
okay,
would be difficult the way that it's built.
we could always revisit that, I guess. Anyway,
Yeah.
thank you, Larry.
But
And then,
anyway, once we fix this problem, what I want to use for a material is Trex instead of wood, because wood, doesn't get waterlogged and it doesn't rot. And Trex doesn't,
right,
the way that wood does. And right now, the cost of Trex is almost equal to the cost of wood.
until we build a jetty down there, this is not gonna go away.
No,
Right.
you're right about that.
Yeah. The other question I had was accepting of cash, and we can have further discussion on that. I'm not personally, as a commissioner, ready to go down that road. Some people still like to pay cash. It's inconvenient as it is, and I'm in the mindset that
But
cash
it's
is,
fewer and fewer.
I know.
Well, that's on our agenda. Let's deal with
Yeah.
that when it comes time. Leanne had her hand up. Leanne?
Yeah, about the dock removal, RCO paid for that, so you'd have to check through the grant stuff if we can even do that. It might have to be there available for boats to pull in. And Taylor Shellfish rents a spot, they're paying $300 a month, and they use that in bad times. And yeah.
Okay.
So far, insurance has always paid for it. Taylor Shellfish will kick in if their boat does anything. Yeah.
No, that's awesome input. Okay, I appreciate that, Leanne.
Okay, any other questions for Larry in regard to old business? No? Now on to new business, discussion of the 2022 budget. Is there,
Let me open up the budget here.
Okay.
In the budget narrative, here we go, the budget narrative. Move this over here. Here we go. The 2022 budget is somewhat leaner than in recent years, and as usual, we budgeted quite conservatively on revenue and fairly liberally on expenses. It's a philosophy that served us well over the years. The only major new project we will embark upon in 2022 will be the new well, as this is the highest priority project we have and may be the single most expensive one the port's ever undertaken. It's only prudent we not spread ourselves too thin and negatively impact our cash flow as doing multiple projects in 2020 and carrying over to 2021 did. The well project isn't listed in the capital budget as we're still waiting on the engineer's estimate to understand our costs, and we've yet to identify a funding source. Once we do those, we will present you with an amended capital budget. And looking at the 2022 budget, there are some good things and some bad things to carry over from 2021. On the positive side, and looking at the document under revenue, all of the numbers in red are money we collected over and above what we budgeted in 2021. The item that stands out most is the timber trust, which is over $50,000 more than budgeted. But this is a revenue source that can't be depended upon to remain constant. For example, in 2019, we collected over $77,000, but in 2020, very little. So we only budgeted $10,000. If we collect more, it's a windfall. If we collect less, we'll have enough in reserves to cover it. Second item is the $25,000 insurance settlement for business interruption due to the dock being destroyed.
Larry, you stopped. We can't hear you.
Oh,
Or is it me?
I can hear him.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's you, Judy.
It's
Sorry.
me. Okay.
Yeah, I could hear you, Larry.
okay. The second item is $25,000 insurance settlement for business interruption due to the dock being destroyed. It was initially denied when we filed it in 2020, but persistence in pursuing this has paid off. On the other hand, Enduris's bill this year was $27,632, so it's almost a wash, but it was more than anticipated. The main standout items for revenue are moorage related in both locations, where the pay stations have proven to be beneficial investments, especially when compared to pre-pay station honor system years. In total, not counting the timber trust or insurance settlement money, we collected $18,484.21 more than we budgeted. When the timber trust and insurance settlement are added, the total's $93,484.21. Also in the cash carryover line, you'll see $50,000. This will be the reimbursement from RCO, which we will receive before the end of this year. So overall, it wasn't a bad year for revenue. It was tight for cash flow, but overall revenue was good. Now for the bad news. Expenses are up, several of which are in unanticipated areas. The two standout areas are legal and utility costs. Payroll costs also increased a total of $1,983.17. Some of that is us taking on sunshine. As you know, the litigation we're involved in has been quite expensive, but necessary to protect our assets. Between the general fund and water fund, the year-to-date total for legal expenses is $73,708.95, which is $16,964.08 and $56,744.87 from the general and water funds respectively. Those are year-to-date totals with 2 months left to go. And as you can see, we budgeted significantly higher for this in 2022. The other surprise expense was utility costs. Electricity has gone up significantly, plus the signatories to an interlocal agreement with the PUD signed a number of years ago were obligated to pay for the street lighting in Allyn on Highway 3. In the time I've been here, this has doubled in cost. Plus, 3 more lights were added that we were never notified of. Just received a copy of the interlocal today and we'll read through it and see what our options are. But it has another 3 years to run. Our total cost of increased electricity for all our facilities is $4,568.58 year to date over what we budgeted, which was based on last year with a 10% multiplier. Of that, those streetlights are $1,463.47 over the $2,600 we budgeted for 2021. It's also why we have put an item on your agenda to increase what we charge for electricity at the marinas. Garbage was also up at all our facilities for a total of $556.65. We exceeded our budget for equipment and tools by $1,823.61. This was due to having to buy a new lawn tractor, of which we did recoup $300 at the surplus sale and a new power washer. Other items of notes are gas was up year to date by $498.92, just like everyone else's gas has been up since the first of the year. Computer and IT support was up $653.81, primarily for dealing with that hack we had, keeping our older computers running and dealing with interfacing of the security cameras with our system, which still isn't totally working correctly. Cost of computer maintenance has dropped to almost nothing since we bought everyone new computers, and we're still $4,215.56 under what was budgeted for hardware and software. Software fees from vendors are rising as everyone has adopted the software as a service business model, as opposed to the previous, you bought the software, installed it, and you owned it model. But those are the main difference in expenses, and we've had enough revenue to make up for the shortfalls. If we hadn't had the amount of legal fees we've been burdened with, we would have been able to repay the majority of the money we borrowed from the IDD for the Ogren property purchase. So with that, I'll answer any questions you have.
No, that's a good report, Larry.
Yeah, is the budget online so people can
Yes.
look at it?
Yes.
And we're waiting for
It's in-
comments or
It's
anything?
in with the meeting documents.
Okay. Yeah, I don't have any questions at this time for me, anyway. Ted?
I don't have any questions right now, no.
Okay. Yeah, it looks good. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think it's on the website yet because you guys have to approve a preliminary one.
Yeah, it
Okay.
says draft on the document.
Yeah,
I can't find it. I'm looking.
Greg put it up there. I
Yeah.
sent it to him with the meeting documents.
Yeah,
And we need to have the public hearing about this.
Yeah. No, we
Yeah, we
haven't noticed, we haven't notified anybody for a public meeting,
Yes,
Public
we did.
hearing tonight. Okay. So do we want to close a regular meeting and have a hearing now? Or do you
we'll
want-
still have to have another one after we post we have to do
We
our
have to-
legal notice.
Yeah, we have to have a couple, I know that.
Yeah, we just have to approve the preliminary and then seek public comment.
Okay.
oh, I see. Do we have to close this, Judy? Is that what you're saying in order to do that? And-
Well, I think what Leanne just said is that we have to approve the preliminary, then going into the public hearing
Okay,
for the budget.
all right.
Is that correct, Leanne? I think that's the way we generally do that.
Yeah, and it's not on the website, so I don't know if anybody's prepared from the public to speak at this time, but we're gonna have to have another meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What I'd do is I'd like to make a motion to approve the draft budget proposal, the 2022 draft budget proposal.
Okay,
Yeah, I would second that. I don't have any issues with that preliminary draft budget because that's where we're at thus far. So I would second that motion.
okay.
It is on the website. If you-
really?
Yeah, I just went and looked. If you look under the documents tab, It says,
Also not under the meeting documents.
no, there's one right there. If you look under documents, says meeting documents, and then one that says budget documents.
Well, then maybe ask, I think Jeff's the only one there, if he's looked at it and wants to comment yet.
Yeah,
That was nice.
we still have a motion that we got to vote on.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, all in favor of the preliminary draft of the budget for 2022 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved. Now we can close this and go into a public hearing for the budget.
I have a question. Was there legal notice given on this meeting?
I think
Not on
there-
this one. That's why we have to have another one.
I thought
We
you
have
had two.
We
I
have
thought
to
they were
have,
both supposed to be announced.
Oh, then if this hasn't been properly noticed, because it was on our agenda here, but I don't know if it has been, if it hasn't been properly noticed, then we should not really have the public hearing yet.
You
There
guys,
were
you
two-
guys need to approve it and then it has to go into the two different meetings. Both of
Right.
them need to have legal notice.
Okay,
okay.
I
But
wasn't
anyway.
aware this one hadn't been noticed, so we're gonna have to set 2 more meetings then.
okay. Well, Jeff, would you like to say anything in regard to this, or did you look at it?
I looked at it, but I was kind of like, I knew it was the draft, and so it's kind of like, okay, the general categories are correct, the general different places
I found
are
it.
correct. I could find it, so the website was working better. So, but at this point, I can't give any really good comment on it because I haven't compared it, enough. We
Right.
just had the draft.
Okay,
Right. So we'll go, Jeff, like Judy said, we'll be having 2 more meetings on this to shore this up proper. So, yeah.
Right. That'd be fine. Thank
okay.
you.
And thank you, Bonnie, for your clarification as well.
Yeah.
So the next one then is to set a date for the public hearing. So commissioners, would you like to take a quick look at your calendar?
I'm looking at it right now. So somebody want to throw a date out and go from there?
We're gonna have 2 dates.
How about the 8th and the 15th?
Got to be 2 weeks apart.
Oh, it has to be 2 weeks apart?
Check it
Yeah.
out, Leanne, but I think there has to be a certain amount of time in between them.
Yeah, is it the rule of not more than 10 days, not less than 20 days?
Something
Rule.
like that.
Yeah,
we
I'll
have to-
check,
It's
I'll
the,
check with MRSC.
Well, why don't we just split the difference and do the 8th and the 22nd?
I am gonna be out of town on the 22nd.
All right.
I'll be out of town that whole week.
How about the 8th and the 18th?
Let's see, I can
Hmm.
get it. I can't
would-
get it. I might be able to get it in the paper on Thursday or Friday. So then 10 days
Yeah.
from that.
can I make a comment? Sorry to keep
Yes.
in.
Yes.
Courts technically don't have to meet that November deadline.
No,
You check it out, you can actually go into the first week of December or so.
yeah.
Okay,
So the 15th is 10 days from our next publication.
Okay.
Well, Thursday, so the 14th, but that's a Sunday. So that would be the soonest we could do it, I think.
so the
Oh.
15th
Uh-huh,
and then maybe the 29th?
yeah.
Are you going to be back, Larry?
Yeah, I'm just gone Thanksgiving week.
Okay, we have 2 dates thrown out, Judy, so how does that look, the 15th and the 29th, just to give us that room?
Well, it looks good for me.
Me too.
Ted? Your comment?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay,
Thank you.
Okay. 15 and 29, correct?
right.
And will that be at 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock Zoom meeting. I will set them up and send you the links.
Okay. Thank you very much,
And
everybody.
I'll get the notice published. I'll talk to the paper tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That gives you more breathing room, doesn't it, Leanne?
Well, there's certain parameters you have to
Sure.
stay within their timeline. Yeah, so there's
Okay.
that.
To notice it. Okay, I'm learning.
Yep.
Okay,
That gives-
excellent.
That gives the public time, you know.
Yeah,
about some of
true.
this.
Okay, resolution 428 has been tabled for the next time. Approval of the update of resolution 406, which is the extension of the port's credit line with Kitsap Bank. And actually that was approved 2 years ago. And this resolution would be an extension if we, of that resolution. So Larry, would you mind explaining that?
Yeah, it's, we've already approved the resolution. All it does is extend the time 1 year. I asked for 3, but I have not been able to get in touch with the guy, our banker that's handling this. And Cynthia Weed has tried to get in touch with him also, and she's having the same problem. We think he's either on vacation or has COVID, maybe, we don't know. But at any rate, it'd be a 1-year extension right now. And once we touch base with him, if he okays 3, then I'll come back with another extension for the additional 2 years.
Right.
But all this does is, nothing changes, the terms stay the same. There's no changes other than the time. The amount of
Okay.
time we can draw it, that's it.
Yeah, and we haven't used it, and you
No.
explained it to me already that it's just for it to stay there for us. So I have not seen, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm willing to make a motion if someone wants to read it real quick for formality purposes.
Well, I think it's quite long. That's
Yeah,
why
it's
we,
pretty long.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
All right,
I'll send you a copy.
okay.
so do you want to table that or do you want to make a motion on it?
We need a motion on it.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to approve resolution 406? Which is
I'll make
the,
Resolution to amend resolution 406.
okay,
Oh, all right. So,
I'll make
I
a
hear a mo-
motion to amend resolution 406.
I hear a second.
yeah, I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
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 So moved. Okay, discussion of potential projects for the comprehensive plan update. We had a meeting, kind of a retreat to go over some of the projects. Larry, would you like to fill us in on some of that?
Sure. Let me get that up here. Here we go. We update our comprehensive plan every year, even though we don't have to. The next time that it's up is 2024. But as long as updating it every time, once we do that, we don't have to deal with any formalities or legal stuff when it comes time to redo it again. We just, declare a resolution and we're good to go. But it has to be done by March 1st every year for RCO to consider it. So one project was construct a restaurant lounge building on the North Shore. What I'm envisioning is something similar to what Harold's used to be. We would put it on the property across the street from the marina. We have plenty of property there. We'd construct a 1,500 to 2,000 square foot empty metal building on our North Shore property. We'd lease the building to a restaurateur who would own and operate the business. We'd collect money from the monthly lease and share gross revenue based on tenant's Department of Revenue and/or B&O tax returns. Tenant would also be responsible for maintenance of the building with specific maintenance requirements spelled out in the lease. We need to design the building, which I envision as a standard metal building with attractive front side facing the road. The initial tenant would be responsible for interior leasehold improvements and construction of the environment they want to create. At the end of the lease, we'd either demand they remove the equipment installed or leave it. How it all comes together would be the kind of thing that attorneys need to work out. We'd have to clear the property next to the parking lot and level it out, which we have plenty of room to do. It would require a rezone and installation of a commercial septic system since the building would need restrooms. However, water and power are already on site. We could utilize the existing parking lot for the marina and expand it as necessary since we have room on the site. Customers would come from boaters using the marina, which would entice more local boaters for just that reason. We could either offer free moorage for a specific period or charge an hourly rate. Additional customers would be North Shore restaurants who currently have no dining and/or entertainment options once they leave Belfair. Funding for the project would come from curb loans, grants, as well as potentially from economic development grants and/or revenue bonds. Or perhaps we could see if capital budget money would be available and task the lobbyists with finding it for us. Second project, repaint the murals on the overpass on the North Shore, on the north end of Belfair. This would be a fairly low budget project, especially if we could get a local artist or more than one to donate the mural work. Also, we could partner with community groups like Rotary and perhaps the Boys and Girls Club to clean and power wash the overpass beforehand. Perhaps we could get a local business to donate the paint as well. Construction of a new well for the water system. Yes, we have to do this no matter what, but it is required to be in our comprehensive plan. Ports under a mandate from the Department of Ecology to drill and construct a new well, have it online by March 1st, 2024. This was agreed to in the 2003 version of the water system plan. The reason the Department of Ecology is concerned about saltwater intrusion into our existing well. We've not had any indications of saltwater intrusion, which we test regularly for. We're still mandated to construct the new well. The upside of this is that we are the designated water provider for the Allyn UGA, which you are aware is undergoing significant growth. At some point, we would need to drill an additional well anyway. So drilling one large and deep enough that's capable of supplying the entire UGA makes a lot of sense. It's also federal money potentially available to pay for this project. Upgrade the water system by acquisition of smaller system and exempt wells. As a designated water provider for the Allyn UGA, there are several sets of exempt wells and small water systems. Department of Health and Ecology are encouraging systems like ours to attempt to acquire these systems and incorporate them into larger systems like ours. Department of Health has a loan program that'll loan us money to acquire these systems and forgive at least 50% of it, and possibly all of it once the systems are integrated with each other. Considering we're going to have a brand new well capable of providing water for all these small systems as well as the rest of the UGA, provides a lot of opportunity for us to grow the system and keep it profitable over the long term. Installing EV charging stations at the park. The Biden administration is forcing the auto industry to move towards the elimination of the internal combustion engine into purely electric vehicles, such as Tesla, GM, Ford, Stellantis, formerly Chrysler. VW, Volvo, BMW, and Toyota have all stated their fleets will be fully electric by the mid-2030s. Every manufacturer already has fully electric vehicles like Ford's Mustang E-Mach, the Chevy Bolt, BMW's IO, and others. The main roadblock to fully convert the automobile from gas to electric is three things: the lack of charging infrastructure and the amount of time it takes a vehicle to charge, and the battery mileage range. Once charging stations are as common as gas stations, an EV can travel the same distance on a charge as it does on a tank of gas, and it doesn't take any longer to charge a vehicle as it does to fill up the gas tank. EVs will replace gas-powered cars. Battery technology is advancing rapidly, and the Biden administration has pledged to have 500,000 charging stations nationwide as part of the infrastructure bill currently being debated in Congress. Should be massive amounts of grant money coming available for these in the next several years. We already have a hefty electrical infrastructure here at the park, so this would be a relatively easy project to do. Paving our parking lots. Maintaining our parking lots both here in Allyn and on the North Shore is an ongoing situation. requiring us to continually fill potholes occurring during the rainy season as a regular maintenance item. Every other year, we have graded and totally re-rocked all of our lots. The last time we did this, the cost was just shy of $8,000. And we still have the cost of continually filling the potholes. Perhaps paving the lots, even if we did it over several years, is a better long-term solution. You know, we could pave, say, 50 feet, you know, each year, something like that. Sell the kayak park property and use the money for another project. Kayak park's financial drain on the port in terms of maintenance costs. Rarely used for anything other than people stopping by to eat a sack lunch or something. We also deal with vandalism there several times a year. Trying to set it up as a low-cost wedding venue didn't work due to the permitting issues. In talking with Richard Bell, he felt if we were to sell it as waterfront home site, which it was before we bought it, would generate at least $250,000 for the port, which should be enough to buy us some property for a business park or perhaps build a North Shore Marina building. We had to build a business, if we are to build a business park, one of the spaces in it could be used for our proposed indoor shooting range. The other alternative use for that would be to modify the kayak park to create a memorial park that honors military veterans of all wars and first responders. A single or perhaps multiple sculpture and or artwork could be created for each group being honored, along with a display of multiple American flags. And upgrade to the Lynch Cove swimming pool. This is a rehash from previous years. In the 2008 public process, the port's comprehensive scheme of harbor improvements, the idea of the port building a public pool was strongly supported. Port of Allyn qualifies for grant funding for this project, while the Lynch Cove Homeowners Association, owners of the pool, do not. If the port could secure an RCO grant for the upgrade to this existing facility, would cover 75% of the total cost. Lynch Cove Homeowners Association would have to agree to be responsible for the difference for this project to move forward. Under those circumstances, the port would have no capital outlay and no ongoing maintenance costs, which are already the responsibilities of the Homeowners Association. As a condition of the grant, RCO most likely would require some kind of public access to the pool. This is an issue for the Lynch Cove Homeowners Association to agree to prior to moving forward. And then tonight you heard the proposal for a skateboard park. So that's what I have. And, you know, I would entertain any other ideas you all have.
Well, we do need, as you had mentioned, we do need to add investigating or at least proposing a skate park in Belfair UGA.
Yeah. And, you know, we need to do some public process on this, outreach to the public about what they'd like to see, do the online survey like we had done previously. And, you know, just do a lot of public outreach and see what we get back for what other people think.
Yeah, that'd be great.
These projects, as well as our current projects, which are the Oyster House shooting, shooting range. And well, we finished the other projects actually.
Right.
Projects were the staging area and the marina, and they're finished. So
How do you do that? How have you done that outreach in the past, y'all? Is it like a mailing out with the existing list of things that we're looking at and some additional ideas and to get some feedback?
It's all electronic. We have a mailing list, an email list. We have a pretty good presence on Facebook. And what we did the last two times is we did a Survey Monkey survey, and we published the link to the survey, you know, all over the place, you know, and did press releases for it with the link to it and everything else.
We did do a mail out. Has it been 10 years ago, I think, something like that?
That preceded me.
Yes, correct. That gave us lots of ideas. Survey Monkey is good. And that's helped.
What would it cost? Okay.
Well, go ahead, John. What was your
What would
question?
it cost us to do a mail out, you know, because not everybody's, I mean, we want to hear from everybody that wants to give us some feedback, and I'd like to see us at least put all the different ways that we can reach out to everybody on the table. I know there's costs involved, but that would be something I'd like to see.
I off the top of my head, a mailer would be about $5,000, including the cost of producing it.
I know it's not cheap, but
No,
what's the cost of leaving people out that might not otherwise have had any input into their local community, So,
that's
okay,
for you guys to decide.
Okay.
Direct mail has a return rate of about 3 to 3.5%.
I understand.
Survey
Okay.
reviews worked well.
Well, and look at how many hours and days Randy stood out in front of Safeway handing them out too. So,
Yeah.
you can do that way too. Put in a little time and.
That's a good idea, Leanne.
Well, I helped with that one too. We could
Yes.
do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be willing to.
See Safeway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Girl
Yeah,
Scouts
I
of
might do
America.
that.
I think that would be more cost effective than mailing.
Yeah.
Because that way you just have the cost of producing the piece.
Right.
It's good PR too. It
Yeah.
really-
Plus
It
they
is.
meet the commissioners for the first time. Well, for me, the first time probably, but anyway, that's you that I saw on there. It's like, yeah. Anyway, I like that.
Well,
That's
I
a cool.
have you here. Let me ask you about this.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
Yeah.
heck, I'll do QFC and you can do Safeway.
Okay. I'll do Safeway. I like QFC better, but I'll do Safeway.
Ted can do Allyn pizza.
Oh Lord.
Oh,
Well,
we'll
that
talk
market,
about that.
that
We-
market right there,
We
Yeah.
do have, we should probably do that soon with the holidays coming up. Maybe we could do that January, February or something.
Yeah.
That might
Right.
be appropriate.
Right.
We can talk about it.
I'll get the turtlenecks out.
There you go.
All right.
Ted, any comments? Questions?
He's probably having pheasant right about now.
No, it's a little noisy in here, so no, no comment.
Okay. Okay,
Got bonding going on in the background there.
I think they're watching either Monday Night Football or, I think it's Monday Night Football, so they're yelling and screaming.
Got it.
okay, any other comments in regard to the comprehensive scheme of harbor improvements? I guess we can move on and we can take more comments later. Does that sound good? Okay.
Yes.
hearing-
Does.
That sounds
nothing
fine,
else?
Judy. Yeah.
Okay, next on the agenda is the using of cash payments. Who would like to go first on that?
Okay. I'll go first since I prematurely brought it up. But
All right.
I'm personally not ready as a commissioner to let go of the cash. I know that there's a labor intensive, that my only question there is can't you wait a couple weeks or whatever to deposit those monies? So it's like one broad brush to put the checks and all the payments with the cash into the bank. That question for Larry and Leanne, actually.
Well, I got an answer.
Okay.
To do it daily.
You do
We
it
don't.
daily.
We're
Okay.
supposed to.
We are supposed to.
Auditor, yeah, we're mandated to do it. daily.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And
So
then
you can't
weekly
wait
down
a
to the
week.
county. So,
Got it.
yeah,
Yeah, so, if we get an $8 envelope for a launch fee, it costs us at least that much to process it,
I see.
and we're getting fewer and fewer envelopes with cash in them.
Right.
If we get an envelope, say, and this happens frequently, we'll get somebody cash parking and launch $15. Well, they don't have $15 with them. All they have is a 20. So they put a 20 in there. So we've got to reconcile that. And then maybe all the cash they have on them is $16.48. And that's what they put in the envelope. And then we have to reconcile that.
I hear you.
The first 4th of July I was here, I remember Leanne and I trying to do this, and it took us, what, 3 days? Sorting out $1 bills and stacking.
Right.
Travis walked in with a bag full of
Nickels,
envelopes. He's like,
pennies, and- I mean,
Yeah,
it's getting less and less cash.
it's
Well-
almost like when I asked that question, I knew the answer to it. I just don't like it.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
I'm
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
and
kind of with you.
Congress
Yeah.
is talking about doing a digital dollar where Congress may eliminate cash.
I know it. Oh, it's coming. I just don't like it, but you know, it's coming.
I'm with
Yeah.
you.
All right, thank you.
Kind of hesitate too, but if we do, I would like to give plenty of notice, plenty of time to people.
Yeah.
That they
Yeah.
can prepare.
We could say June 1st, you know, doesn't have to be right away.
Well, I certainly don't want to ever get rid of people writing a check. That's for
No,
sure.
definitely not.
Okay.
Because
Like-
depositing a check is about 30 seconds. It's take a picture of both sides of it and push submit deposit. That's it.
Maybe we should have a check making machine right next to it. Anyway, okay, I'm being facetious, but okay, thank you.
No, but we do electronic deposit for all the checks we get.
Right.
We just take a picture of them and deposit them online.
Okay.
I don't
That's
know if I
easier.
wanna- Yeah, I don't
I
know if I
agree with-
want to. Go ahead, Ted, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Larry, I agree with what you just said about, given plenty of notice. So if we as commissioners decide June 1st or July 1st will be the cutoff, and we'll no longer accept, cash, I think that would be good, but we just need to advertise it as much as possible. Websites, even signs at our, stations
Signs,
and
yeah.
let people, so.
And I would take it a step further. I totally agree with Commissioner Jackson there. We might want to have some mercy for those that might not know at the time. It's kind of like when the bridge fails to charge everybody properly, you get to go across it free. There's just a little bit of a grace period there, you know.
Oh, yeah, you know, have an
Yeah.
official cutoff
Yeah.
date,
Yeah.
but have a soft cutoff date also.
Yes, sir.
We don't
Exactly.
advertise.
Exactly.
Yep.
So
Okay.
can we get a motion on this?
I'll make a motion to, unfortunately, I'll make a motion to take the cash off the table because of for a variety of reasons that we just brought up. I'll make that motion now.
Or here a second.
I'll second.
Okay.
I'll second.
Yeah. Should we put any time frame in
You know,
there?
I would say August 1st. That's right between July 4th, which is a big weekend for us.
You know why I like that idea a lot? Because it gives us, you know how we have the tremendous amount of flow of people coming in during that holiday July's. Then we can post it so people know that might not normally know when they come in there as of the end of this month, FYI. So there's a way to post that for everybody as well as every other avenue we have. So I will make that motion. Can I make another motion that includes
Well, you can
that?
amend it. You amend it.
So I'd like to amend that motion to to remove cash being part of the way we do business there. But as of August 1st, 2022, with a soft date to give people a grace period to know that that's happened.
Okay. Ted, second?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay. All in favor signify by saying aye.
I
Okay, there we go. As much as that is difficult to say.
know. I knew we have to do this, but dang, I don't like it. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I carry cash just to feel like I have cash. Okay.
I think we all do. Yeah.
Okay, next on the agenda is the cost of the power for mortgage to the mortgage customers, that we need to possibly increase it. Larry, would you like to take that away?
Yeah, you heard the numbers for the increases that we're paying for in power.
Yeah,
And we're at a point now, the $5 that we charge mortgage customers for power, overnight power, doesn't pay the cost. Just that simple. We're losing money every time somebody plugs in.
so I heard that. What would cover that cost? I mean, obviously it's gonna keep going up, but what would cover that cost right now, Larry?
The $750 would cover it right now, which is a 50% increase, really. But that's what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
like I said, you heard the numbers.
yeah. I'd like to make a motion to go ahead and do that. I mean,
Leanne, just a minute, John. Leanne has her hand up, so hang on.
oh, sorry.
Yeah, because I think when we raise fees, we have to have some public process, so we might want to add that to our to the budget public meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think we
Oh,
can just,
are you saying that you would like to wait before we vote on that?
yeah, we're having discussion now. I
Yeah,
think we
we've got to have 2 public hearings on it, just like the budget.
Okay, all right.
All right, so I got ahead of myself. All right.
have.
Yeah, I just.
No
like to
problem,
get
that's great.
things done, yeah, okay.
Okay, so it will be in the public hearing, beginning of 15th, that we'll mention that in the,
Yeah, and I can put that
Public
in the
hearing.
legal notice.
okay,
So I'll officially amend that motion and table that for the notice that you need to do. How's that?
that's good.
Okay,
Well, it wasn't seconded, so we don't really have a motion.
Oh,
so
okay.
There you go.
all right.
Okay, that is the extent of our new business items. Next is public comment. Jeff,
Okay, am I online? Okay.
yes, you
Yeah.
are.
The only thing I was prepared to comment about, and just briefly, is on the potential comprehensive plan projects. And I've given some testimony in the past of ones I don't, I'm not so hot about. The big thing I would say is this, which is true for almost anything you bring into the, to the process, that we just need a good sound feasibility process taken when we look into these things. Because I'm concerned, like on the restaurant issue along North Shore. Yeah, there's the need, but does it work itself out? In other words, financially, does it, between parking and zoning change and all these different things, does it all work itself out? Maintenance. I mean, Judy, from running a restaurant in the past, there's a lot of little expenses that go into the day-to-day life of a restaurant. As far as the EV charging stations, again, I've given past testimony on this. There's a mixed bag of signals out there as far as whether it is, if I know we're going to that. That's not the issue, but I'm again concerned about cost effectiveness for the port. Port doesn't need just busy work; they need revenue and developing commerce in the community. So I mean that's the big push. And then the upgrade of the Lynch Cove swimming pool. Again, feasibility. I know I sound like a broken record. I know that I seem to remember in 2008 or 9, the Allyn Community Association was looking at a pool for the greater Allyn area. And I think it also included Belfair, but at least the Allyn area. And it was one thing to get the pool constructed. There's a whole nother animal to get it maintained.
Mhm.
And it just, I can't remember exactly all the points that how it worked itself out, because more than 12, 13 years ago when we looked at it, but it just seemed like we could get to a point and it's like you could get across the finish line, but then you didn't have any capacity, without, some taxing base or something to maintain it. And it never flew. So my concern is do the homework before you get it on. If I don't have a problem too, if you want to put projects on that say they need research, and maybe we've always had projects and that's what we're going to do, but maybe there's another portion that says, look at projects and do some feasibility before you bring it into your comprehensive plan. Because I'm just concerned, like in those three, that the long term, it's not going to pan out the way the port would hope or the taxpayers would hope. I guess that sums it up in a word or two. So thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
I'd like to address a couple of those things. The restaurant idea, the port would not have any expense. You know, we'd have to build the building, but the restaurateur is going to have to maintain it according to our standards, and it would be part of the lease. We'll have to be able to verify the income, whether it be from his Department of Revenue reports or, you know, whatever. But they will be responsible for all of it, not us. We're not going to be in the restaurant business. We have no business being in the restaurant business. But, you know,
And that's fine, Larry. I'm fine with that. The biggest thing is just look at the feasibility. I realize that the port won't be maintaining the facility, or at least how you might envision it. I'm just concerned that, you know, there's been a lot of restaurants on the North Shore over the ages, and they've tried and failed. And I don't know all the reasons, but obviously something was up. And all I'm concerned about is yes, the port can get a facility built, but does it really, you know, does it go anywhere? And not because you're not trying, but just because the economics aren't there.
well, I have talked to a couple of restaurateurs that
Yeah.
have both said, yeah, call me first. if you're
Okay,
gonna Do this.
okay. You know where I'm going, you know, you got my point, at least, and we'll go from there.
Yeah. And then
Thanks.
as far as the pool goes, I agree with you 100% about, we don't want to own a pool. We do not, you know, that's just, you know, I live in South Kitsap and I'm a taxpayer here, and I'm looking at what the school district is looking at to fix their pool.
Yeah.
And they're going to spend more to fix that pool than it costs to build it.
Right,
We don't want to be in that situation. With the Lynch Cove Homeowners Association, they're going to bear everything. It's going to be a situation similar to Sweetwater Park, where we're just the middleman to get the grant money for them to do what they want to do. It's not like we're going to own anything. We're not going to maintain anything. We're not going to do anything. We're going to help them get the grant, and then we're out of it. That's it.
Yeah, plus Lynch already has a pool. It's not starting from scratch.
Right.
Yeah. It's just fixing that one. And then, you know, other than that, we don't want to be in a business like that that's going to be a burden on the taxpayers. That's not our job. You know, our job is economic development,
Stop it.
and
Judy,
you know,
stop.
the restaurant would cause economic development because, you know, it'd be a business, a viable business. And we would make money off of it, which we would put back into the community for other projects.
Stop it.
Right. No issue, no real issue, other than I'm just concerned, just based upon what's happened in this community over at least the 30 years I've been around it. So
Okay.
anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Bonnie, do you have anything?
Yeah, I have to agree with Jeff. I'd be very, very cautious about the swimming pool, because that you're starting to get into the nitty gritty weeds, and it's going to open up all kinds of things like the painting the mural. That's a community project. I don't see the economic development part of it, and I don't mean to be throwing water on everything. But the getting into private property, private ownership, there are other mechanisms. What I'm saying is the port, I think, should be handling the higher up economic development things, because nobody else is doing that. That's not the port's purview to be doing random projects because the community wants them. There are other avenues, parks and recreation, and the homeowners association could actually go for the grants themselves. And that would make more sense. And they'd probably be more likely to get it. But I think you get broader public support for the bigger projects. As far as the restaurant is concerned, I would want an ironclad commitment from somebody saying, yeah, I'm going to rent that building for this period of time. When we were talking about the Sergeant Oyster, when we were talking about doing it on site, we were working with Taylor Shellfish, and they were going to commit to a long-term lease in order for us to get into the business of doing that. And then everything changed because they changed the property. But I would really want a commitment ahead of time. Saying that something is nice is one thing, but actually committing, that's a big deal. And it could be, I agree with Jeff, it could be a real drag on the photo for a period of time. I think it's a great idea if you can get a long-term commitment from somebody, at least a 3-year. And if it works, it works, but they would be holding as much, liability as the port is. But those to me are just the two public ones that I think the skateboard is a great idea because it's public, it's off-site, it's not on the shoreline, which is where ports generally do their recreational stuff. And that's how they do recreational stuff, is usually on the shorelines. And it's not that you can't, but we dealt heavily with the county when we were talking about that. It wasn't a port commitment. It was a county commitment and the port was supporting it. In fact, we were more supporting it from the outside, not the port's perspective. But that's just my perspective.
Great. Well, thank you.
Well, on the ACA, we're going to be doing the Christmas, we're going to be doing Santa Claus. So that's an up thing. And the
Excellent.
sergeant thing will be moving ahead starting tomorrow. So that's another good thing.
That's excellent.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Please don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to kill community things, but there is a difference between what the port's charge is and what the community's goals are. Hopefully they come together, but I think that's a breach for both of them.
Great, thank you. Anything for the good of the order?
Yes, real quickly, at the next meeting, if we could put on the agenda, Larry, that I give the other two commissioners an update on the salmon recovery effort that we're doing with the Port of Allyn and some volunteers. We had a meeting last week. I'm not prepared to give anything tonight. It'd only be about 5-10 minutes, but at the most, so.
Okay,
Okay, excellent. Anything else for the good of the order? Don't forget our meetings and we will see you on the 15th. I guess we can say meeting adjourned.
I have one question first, please, request.
Sure.
Could you put the Zoom meetings on the front page of the port's website? I couldn't find it. I literally could not find it. Till
Oh,
the
the
end.
links, yeah.
Yeah, and then the announcement and the link,
Okay,
since you're gonna keep.
can you
meeting-
guys do that?
yeah, I'll talk to Greg about that. That's, I think we do need to have the Zoom link.
Yeah.
on it. It's on the agenda, but it's not separate by
I
itself.
could not find it. Leanne had to walk me absolutely through it.
It's at the very top of the agenda.
That's a great idea. And it could show the next meeting as things evolve, the next meeting and the link, the next meeting link.
Well,
If
maybe
you
what I'll
could,
do
I
is,
really do want the public to participate. If it's right there and it's easy, come on, invite people in. Don't make them look for you. Most
Right.
people don't even know you do Zoom meetings. I wish you'd go back to personal, but that's
Yeah.
just me. I think you need to be back to in person.
okay,
That's,
Great. Okay, anything else? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
All right, have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Yeah,
Happy
have a good time,
Pleasant
Ted.
hunting.
night, everyone.
you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, everybody.
Night.
Good night.